Male, it's all kicking off here, mate. There's members of the public directing me into a building. Hey, right, there's another... Just bear with me. Stand by. Stay. Right. Ambulance is with a child on the floor, not breathing. There's a male in the building going in to try and detain him.
Watch out. Don't go. Yeah, you need to... You need a gun, mate. That's doing nothing. He's got a knife.
Are you safe in there?
1-6, how many casualties have you got?
It was a crime that horrified the nation.
He opened the door and just grabbed a child. He then grabs the next child and the next child.
3 young girls murdered.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
8 more seriously injured. A killer who showed no mercy, who the authorities failed to stop. This is the story of the Southport attack.
What shocked me is how small the young kids were. It just was unbelievable.
Told by the people who were there.
Hi, good morning, Merseyside. It's nearly 9:05 on Monday, the 29th of July. You might have some great plans today. We've got some fantastic weather bestowed upon us today. One of my plans today.
It was the beginning of the summer holidays in Southport, and a yoga teacher had planned a special event in the seaside town. Leanne was running the yoga and dance workshop with her friend Heidi. 26 children were on their way to Hart Street, including 2 sisters.
So the girls left with my husband. It was a really hot day. I remember sitting in the garden, thinking it was a lovely day, it was sunny.
I thought, yeah, I was going to have a good day, and then I didn't think anything of it.
Their older daughter, who was 13, was helping out at the event. She's talking to us, supported by her parents. We're calling her Sarah to protect her identity.
Obviously, my sister wanted to go to take part. I was there helping out, taking pictures of the girls, having fun and everything, because I've helped out before as well. So I thought, why not do it again?
And you were supposed to go out with your friends that day, weren't you? You chose to do this instead.
Yeah, I told them that I'd meet up with them later on in the day.
I'd always have activities in my workshop, and it made sense to be friendship bracelets because that's what Taylor Swift sings about. We went round the circle and they said how they were feeling, and one of the little girls said, "This is the best day of my life."
"5 miles away, a teenager was on the move. He'd ordered a taxi to take him to Hart Street.
You all right, mate? Is it to Hart Street?
It was a 12-minute drive. The 17-year-old was going to the address where the Taylor Swift workshop was being held.
That's it, yeah, it's down there, that's it, yeah. It's down there, the spray shop. We cash your card, mate. Spray shop? It's just the 34 out, yeah. We cash your card, mate. We cash your card, mate. Excuse me, mate. Oi!
The workshop was being held in the Hart space. 3 men were working in the garage next door when the teenager arrived in their yard by mistake.
Not paid, mate. You've not paid. What are you doing?
I was outside working on a car, and next thing you know, a taxi pulls up. A lad comes out, and I could see a bit of commotion.
Are you paying or what? Cash?
This chap walks down, he's got a green hoodie on with the hood up and a paper face mask. So all you could see is his eyes. That's all you could see. So I approached him because he said he's not paying a taxi. And the taxi now is following him in, forwards. So I approached him, I said, pay the taxi. He said, what are you going to do about it?
Are you paying or what?
The 17-year-old went back up the lane and then down the entry to the heart space. The taxi followed.
You paying now? Well, the police are on the way.
Dashcam footage shows him trying to get in through a locked door.
I glanced out the window, and obviously now I realise who I saw, but at the time I didn't think anything of it. I didn't see him walking towards us, but I just saw him, so he was right there.
At 11:45, the teenager walked into the heart space through an open doorway and went up the stairs.
The girls were all having fun, dancing and doing yoga, and then it came to like the last 20 minutes or so. We were all doing bracelet making, and that's when he came in.
He opened the door and just grabbed a child. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't see anything. He then grabs the next child and the next child. And then I shout, "Who is that?"
I saw him stab a child in front of me, and then I saw it coming, the knife coming towards me and him coming towards me, and that's when I saw it go into my arm, and that's when I turned, and he must have got my back, but I didn't feel it at the time. Because of the adrenaline, you don't feel it. I remember his eyes the most because he looked possessed.
And then I struggled to get that part of the memory back because he moves from the girls at the table and he moves over to right next to me. I just felt something go in my back. So my brain just said, he's got me. So he got me, and then he got me again.
I remember seeing the girls all huddling around the stairs. So I remember shouting for them to get down and get out. So I was physically pushing them down the stairs to get everyone out. I thought that he wasn't going to stop until he killed everyone. I thought that he wanted to kill us all.
I just knew that if I didn't get out, everyone was going to die. He was bigger than me, and I just thought I need to get some help. So we all run towards the door. We were shouting, "Run!" As I call 999 and ask for the police, I see green again. And I just went into pure panic mode of he's chasing us.
Leanne was stabbed 5 times while protecting the children, but she still managed to help more of the girls to safety.
I was just putting the tools away, and then I heard the screams. And as a parent, you can tell the difference between a scream of play and a scream of terror, and this was nightmares, pain, just, they were terrified. So run out to the road, and that's when 10, 15 girls run round from the other entry, screaming they've just been stabbed. And then I started running in the direction where they just came from, and I'm thinking, you know, running into this.
Across the road, local resident Steve was fixing his garden wall when he heard the screams.
Seems to be coming towards me. So I just turns like that, and then I looked up and I thought, where are they all running to? They're all running down the road, the 10 kids. And then one of the girls seen me and she just legged across. I looked like that, make sure there's no cars coming. And she just ran straight to me and she went like that. So I grabbed hold of her.
I saw Steve, and that's when I ran and saw him and told him that I was stabbed and I thought I was dying. And that he said, no, you're not. Everyone just get in the house.
Second she seen me, she just made a beeline for me. And all the others followed her. She led all the other kids away. The girl's an hero.
I have no idea how many was with me, but they were all kind of still screaming and panicked, as you would be. Everyone's in a blind panic at this point.
And like the last one who come in, the little tiny one, she's like this. And she'd been stabbed there. She's only about that big. And then I looked at a couple of others and I thought, well, they're bleeding as well. How many of them have been stabbed?
James was now in the car park outside the Heart Space.
There was just one woman there in a car. She was phoning the police. She was a parent who just came early to pick up her kids. And there must have been around 5 or 6 kids bundled in the back of her car. They all looked fine except for one. One wasn't good.
James is calling me on the phone. He said, you need to get out here now. So I just left the customer in the office and I ran down this entry.
I turned around and I noticed a girl. She was standing at the far end of the car park next to the door. I shout to her to run over, because at that point I'm thinking, is it one person, is it 2? I looked at her again and noticed she collapsed on the floor, so I just ran to the door, picked her up, and I scooped her up. You know, she weighed nothing.
So I've now got to here. And James comes round that corner from that yard with a little girl in his arms.
She was having trouble breathing, but he's speaking to her, holding her hand and reassuring her that she'll be okay.
You know, she asked me, am I going to die? Which, you know, just it breaks your heart. But I was like, you know, told her no. But I can't say I believed it myself, because just that many stab wounds. I focused everything on her to make sure to keep her alive.
James saved the 7-year-old girl's life. Across the road, Steve and his wife were protecting 10 more children.
They all come running in here, and they were just all in here, sitting down, sitting on the floor, stood up. They all said in the same verse at the same time, he's a black man in a green hoodie and he stabbed us all.
So we're just driving as we are now, we're just talking, messing around in the van, and, you know, literally get halfway down this road. Obviously, we're a bit further where we are now, which I'll show you. We get to about this bit of the road, and I just saw this woman leaning against the car. It's Leanne, and I've jumped out. She would just, I went up to her and say if she's all right, and she's just looked at me. There was like nothing there. And she said, you know, he's stabbing kids up there, and pointed towards the dance studio.
I just kept saying, there's children inside, there's children inside, there's children inside. My brain's going 100 miles an hour, but my body won't do anything. And then people asking me questions, and I'm just saying, go and get the children.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just don't know what else I could have done.
Leanne was leaning against the car, which was just parked half on, half off the path. She was lying against it, completely in shock. And I said to Leanne, do you need any help? And she said, just look after the girls.
Leanne was in and out of consciousness. She had about 4 or 5 stab wounds in her back. In my eyes, it was something unreal. All these young kids on their own. What shocked me is how small the young kids were. It just was unbelievable.
I remember this one girl. She was going around everyone, telling everyone, don't worry, your parents are going to be here, everything's going to be okay, you're going to be all right. And she was incredible.
And roughly how old do you think she was?
About 10.
Little girl.
Or really little.
A businessman working in an adjoining office was also stabbed after confronting the attacker. And the teenager was still armed.
I've entered the building, I'm halfway up the stairs, and I've been screaming, shouting hello. He's come to the top of the staircase. We locked eyes for a brief second. He's got a knife. That's where I've seen him. And it's like my life just almost flashed before my eyes. I've just paused, I'm thinking, I'm panicking, do you know what I mean? I just don't know what's going on, who else is up there with him, who's going to come behind me. And that's where I did kind of freeze, and I've come outside. That's where I've put the door through, put it straight through, ran straight out to here. By this stage, there was so many more people here.
I had my hammer on the floor, so I picked my hammer up, ran over there. Then I legged it back here, because the hammer I had, I thought, it's not good enough. If I'm going to go in there and try and source him out, I need a better hammer. And then when I got over there, Joel said to me, give me one of them. We had a little chat to ourselves and said, like, are we going to go in and do him or what? And then as we opened the door, all the police arrived.
We're all in the middle of the road, screaming, shouting. I'm running down here, trying to get him to, you know, follow me. And I'm just literally get hold of Greg, who's the police officer, and we run towards the door.
Male, it's all kicking off here, mate. There's members of the public directing me into a building. Right, there's another... Just bear with me, stand by, stay. Right. Ambulance is with a child on the floor, not breathing. There's a male in the building going in to trying to take him.
Watch out, don't go. Yeah, you need to you need a gun, mate, that's doing nothing. He's got a knife.
Are you safe in there?
1-6, how many casualties have you got? That job and stop making trauma bags.
Yeah, need taser to me, please. Use a taser, yeah?
Taser!
How many?
At least one.
They just went straight through that open door. As soon as they went in, they could see Axel Ruda Cabana at the top of the stairs, still armed with the knife. They immediately put the taser to him and shouted for him to drop the knife.
One of the cops looked at me like that, as if to say, don't hit him with that, because I had the hammer in my hand, you know, ready to crack him. and the toilet there was locked. That one was open, that one was locked. So I was thinking, is there another one in there? So the police started saying, it's the police, you can open the door, you can open the door. But it turned out to be Heidi.
Leanne's friend Heidi had also helped children escape, but one had hidden in the toilet. Heidi saved the 8-year-old by following her inside and locking the door. More parents were now arriving to collect their children.
I saw Joel carrying a child, and my initial thought was, oh God, and I just ran for the building.
I didn't realise that it was due to end at 12 o'clock, because I was thinking, how are all the parents getting here so quick? You know, all en masse. And they're just all running around, screaming, where's me baby, where's me kid, where's me kid? So I'm saying there's 10 kids or 12 kids over the road.
Sarah's dad was searching for both of his girls.
Door was open. My youngest came out. I was just gripped tight of her so hard. She goes, I'm fine, I'm fine.
There was just blood everywhere. There's bloody hands on cars. And when I looked up, I just saw my husband at the end of the street. He was waving me over, and I just ran towards him. Tried not to look at anything or anyone.
When they came out, what did that feel like?
Just a wave of emotion of just waves of emotion hitting you, going, knowing the fact that you're still a father.
Their younger child's best friend had also been seriously injured.
At that point, they moved outside because they needed to assess everybody's injuries. And at that point, that's when I was told about Alice.
9-year-old Alice Aguirre was the little girl who'd described the event as the best day of her life. She'd been taken to hospital in critical condition. Alice died later that night. Two other girls died on Hart Street. 7-year-old Elsie Dot Stankham and 6-year-old B.B. King. There was disbelief as the news broke.
We don't know the full circumstances of this situation. What we do know is that it involved children at the start of the school holidays, having fun, dancing. They've been dancing moments before this all happened. I don't think anyone here can come to terms with this right now.
I'll film it. I'll film it.
The attacker was arrested at the scene.
We've got no information to suggest there's anything other than this person involved. He's in custody. There's a knife up there. He's been disarmed.
Any more kids in there?
He was quickly identified as Axel Rudakabana.
Take his arm over there, mate. Yeah.
A British citizen who was born in Cardiff to Rwandan parents.
I can get in the back with him if you want, just the double belt braces.
So police interviews, number of police interviews, didn't speak, wouldn't acknowledge his name, didn't speak at all, wouldn't interact with the officers. A lot of the time kept his a face covering, so pulled the jumper up over his face, and that maintained the whole time through police custody. Outside of interview, he made comments around, what he thought about the actions he had done. Horrendous comments, clearly showing no remorse, no empathy for any of those children.
Eight children and Leanne were treated for serious injuries.
Got me in my spine. One had fractured my ribs as well, and obviously then punctured my lung. Then he got me in the top of the shoulder blade, and that was fractured. And he got me here, and then across my head, and then the one on my arm. I asked someone if I was going to die. And she didn't say no. She just said, "You're in the best place." And they were saying things like possible paralysis, something about my lungs. And then they put me in a scanner, and then they came out and they were just shouting.
Sarah was in surgery in the same hospital.
They're like, "Are you the dad?" I'm like, "Yes." They go, the consultant goes, "I need to speak to you," and then takes me into the side room, and I'm just thinking worst case now. I can't remember what he said, but basically they had to operate without consent. The puncture wound on her back had gone in and caused her lung to collapse.
Things were pretty serious at that point.
Yeah. There's serious, there's machines, there's drips, there's all sorts of beeping going on. But nothing prepares you to see your child in a bed with that all around.
I was working from home upstairs, and all I could hear was the noise above my head. So there was a helicopter hovering very, very low above the house.
Within hours of the attack, the police raided the home where Axel Rudakabana lived with his parents.
I went down into the kitchen. My kitchen door was open, and as I went into the kitchen, there was an armed police officer in my garden aiming to go over the fence. I froze. When I saw them, I just froze. And they told me to go inside and lock my door.
So there were numerous weapons within that address. Within Axel Rudakabana's bedroom, there was steel tip arrows. There was a box with bottles, Molotov cocktails. There was 2 knives, one used in the attack and an identical knife ordered at the same time. That was found within the duvet downstairs on the sofa. Numerous different ways to deliver serious harm or injury to people found within that address.
We're parked up here outside where the family was living, and it looks like a really neat, even prim kind of house. But on the inside, the photos tell a completely different story. He was sleeping in the living room, and there were warning signs. There was a large knife right there. And in his bedroom, there was a machete. And it was all there for anyone to see.
Rudakabana's parents came to the UK in 2002, 8 years after the genocide in Rwanda. They're Christians who attended local churches. but police photos have led to questions about what they knew about their son.
I don't know how you would not see those things. Some of those items were clearly on show, not solely in his bedroom.
Surely his parents must have known what was in there.
So there's an ongoing live investigation, and it's difficult, and I can't comment on that ongoing live investigation.
In Southport, disbelief soon turned to anger and grief. The public wanted information about the attacker. But that night, Merseyside police gave few details.
A 17-year-old male from Banks in Lancashire, who is originally from Cardiff, has been arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder.
There was no mention of the attacker's ethnicity or the fact that his parents were from Rwanda. The police seemed to rule out terrorism too.
At this moment in time, the investigation is not being treated as terrorist-related.
What did you think of the quantity and quality of the information given out to the public by Merseyside Police?
I thought it was inadequate. People got the sense that something was being withheld or fudged in some way, and that led the social media types who wanted to spread disinformation.
What do you think the public should have been told, and when?
The public could have been told immediately that there had been an attack by a 17-year-old male who is black, British, born in Wales and has lived in the UK all his life, that he comes from a Rwandan background, and as far as the police are aware, from a Christian background, that it was not possible to say whether he had an ideology or that he was a terrorist, but the police are looking at pace, all the material that they've found.
The day after the attack, police found a suspicious substance under Ruda Cabana's bed. But the public wasn't told.
Do you accept that the public felt misled at that point, say that you were withholding information?
We were working really closely with the Crown Prosecution Service, and I wanted to give as much information as I possibly could. My priority was to make sure that we got justice for the families and the victims. And whilst I would have liked to have said more, I was not going to risk bringing Ruda Cabana to justice.
There are restrictions about what can be said before a trial to prevent a jury from being influenced. But the Independent Advisor on Terrorism Legislation says more information could have been given.
Police were acting under enormous pressure, and they would have been very worried about what lawyers call contempt of court or prejudicing a trial. But ultimately, I'm confident that more could have been said without derailing, without having any risk to the trial.
The police have also been criticised for appearing to rule out terrorism so soon after the attack.
I don't think they could conceivably have arrived at that conclusion on the basis of the evidence. But I think the comms decision was, let's say as little as possible, and let's try to dampen down community feeling by saying, no, there's nothing to see here. Of course, then created a narrative that was exploited by misinformation and disinformation. What are they hiding from us? What aren't they telling us?
To some people, it looked as though the authorities were determined to exclude terrorism before the facts had all been established.
So we were clear that there was no evidence, information or intelligence to suggest that this was terrorist-related. We were really clear that we would keep that under continual review, which we've done from day one. But our colleagues in counter-terrorism policing, working with ourselves, were satisfied that this was not a terrorist-related incident, and that's remained the case throughout.
The night after the attack, rioters targeted Southport Mosque.